Greetings all, I'm Aaron Mills, and welcome back to the Riverdale Vlogs, Episode 9, La Grande Illusion. Insert your own sticks joke here. I'm sorry this one is late. I have had a really busy week, and I did not get a chance to watch this episode until this weekend, along with Episode 10. So as soon as I'm done with this vlog, I'll be doing the Episode 10 vlog, and that'll go up at the same time as this one. Anyway. So, where are we now? Well, things seem to be escalating. Winter has come to Riverdale, and with it, the Blossom Maple Farms Board of Directors. Yeah, apparently it's not just Cheryl's parents who think she's flighty and unreliable. Apparently the Board of Directors does too, and isn't really thrilled about the idea of the Blossom Empire being handed off to Cheryl now that Jason's dead. So they've come in, apparently a power play, because apparently the Board of Directors, if they all vote unanimously, can in fact remove Clifford Blossom from the company. So that's a big deal. And as a result, the Blossoms are scrambling to make everything seem normal, or that they have some sort of contingency plan in place. And that's where Archie comes into the picture. The thing apparently starts off with a tree-tapping ceremony, because as we've established, Riverdale's entire economy is based on maple syrup, and the Blossoms own the biggest maple farm in Riverdale, basically. It's so weird. It's like the intrigue of maple syrup. It's just, it's like I've said before, it is so uniquely Archie universe that it's insane. All this nonsense that's going on over maple syrup. It's just... Anyway, Cheryl asks Archie to be her escort, because while Jason had been performing the tree-tapping ceremony for a while, since he's dead, she's got to do it, and as expected, nobody expects anything from her. So she chooses Archie to go along with it, to go with her. Archie naturally doesn't feel right about it, and pretty much declines, saying, you know what, Cheryl, it's fine, I have a girlfriend, I'm not interested, I can't do this. So she turns it down, and then at school, Cheryl's mom, Penelope, comes out of nowhere, like literally out of nowhere. Archie turns around and boom, there she is. And the Blossoms are just friggin' weird. Okay, Cheryl's a piece of work, but let's face it, looking at her family, it's like the whole family's just friggin' weird. Anyway, Penelope offers Archie the possibility of going to an exclusive music academy, because, as it turns out, another member of the Blossom family is on the board of directors there, and that gives Archie an in, if he's willing to escort Cheryl to the tree-tapping ceremony. Archie does, in fact, check with Val. She says she's okay with it. And so they decide to, but of course, things start escalating as far as that's concerned. And, right off the bat, Veronica's not happy about it. Jughead's not happy about it. Betty says she should, but that's because Betty has ulterior motives of her own, which we'll get to in just a minute. So things escalate when a few days later, Cheryl shows up at the Andrews house and gives Archie a thank you gift. Yeah. A 1984 Les Paul in Cherry Blossom Red. Yeah! A thank you gift. And Fred's not happy about this either, trying to point out that, you know what, it's like, the Blossoms don't give a damn about us. They don't. And just that, and brings up the fact that he and Clifford Blossom are at odds because of all the nonsense surrounding the Sodale project, which is the new shopping district, I guess it's a shopping district. They're kind of vague on exactly what the Sodale project is. It's either a housing project or a shopping complex, one of the two. But whatever it is, it's the stuff being built on the land over the Riverdale Drive-In, which the Blossoms want because it was originally Blossom land to begin with, and, hand to hand, and wound up in the hands of Lodge Industries. So Archie goes to the tree tapping ceremony. And, you know, things seem to be going okay. He gives Cheryl some moral support, and she's able to tap the tree, and everything works out, and everybody seems suitably impressed by this. And then later, Clifford makes the proposal for a dinner for the board, that Archie should escort Cheryl to the dinner for the board, because he seems to be, you know, providing some stability for Cheryl, which is impressing the board. And again, much like the really weird moment at Jason's memorial service where, you know, Penelope said Archie looked so much like him, it's like the Blossoms are trying to drag Archie in to be Jason's replacement. It's very, very strange. Anyway, Cliff, you know, convinces Archie to be Cheryl's escort to the dinner, and they get him a new suit. And when he's being fitted for that suit, Archie talks to Clifford and basically says, listen, instead of getting me into that music academy, can you maybe kind of help my dad's business out? I know you two have been at odds, but... And that actually impresses Clifford. Now, this is not... This is one thing where, once again, I'm going by the performances. Cliff actually seems impressed by this fact. Legitimately impressed. Not, you know, oh, I'm just going to butter him up to get what I want. No, he seems legitimately impressed that Archie was willing to put aside his own ambition for his dad. And as he says, I don't even think Jason would do that for me. And so they decided. So he says, "Listen, come to the dinner, and we'll talk about the business with Fred Andrews, my business with Fred Andrews, and we'll see what I can do." Well, a little later, Cheryl goes and talks to Val. Now we don't see this whole scene because I think it was cut for time, and the next scene pretty much summarizes everything. But Cheryl goes to Val and starts dropping hints that she's going to try to steal Archie away from her. And Val goes to Archie, and he just says, no, they're just helping me. It's like, they're just helping me get into this music program and helping my dad. She's like, really? New suits, new guitar, and all that? They're buying you. I mean, wouldn't you rather get into that academy on your own merits and with your music? It's like, what's the problem with the leg up? Wouldn't you do the same thing in my position? She's like, if you think I would, you don't know me at all. And yeah, Val just walks off, pissed at Archie. So Archie goes to the dinner. Clifford pulls him aside again, starts making insinuations that he should become Cheryl's permanent boyfriend. And, you know, Archie gets cut off in the middle of the conversation by Polly. They both get interrupted by Polly, and I'll get to Polly in a minute. This has to deal with Betty's plotline and the other reason why Archie's at the dinner. So, anyway, as Polly and Archie are talking, they see Cliff having an argument with Cheryl, and Cheryl stalks out, and Archie goes to follow her because it's Archie. He's Archie. He's concerned about people. Archie actually gives a damn about everybody, pretty much. So Archie goes and talks to Cheryl, and Cheryl makes a play for him. You know, basically saying that, you know, everybody hates her, and if it's at school, it's not a big deal, but it seems like her own family hates her, and we're supposed to be sympathetic to Cheryl, but this show, I'm sorry, you can't, it's like, this show has made us so mistrustful of any member of the Blossom family that even when you try to get sympathy for Cheryl, you don't buy it, and I'm sorry, Madeline Pesh's performance doesn't help. She comes off as stiff and wooden, and the dialogue is just horrible. All the dialogue for the Blossom family is just terrible. It doesn't sound authentic. It's ridiculous. It's like you think they make you... It's like, this is not how people talk. This is how some writer thinks upper class, small town, rich, snobby people talk. And been around upper class, small town, rich, snobby people, and no, they may think that, and yes, while they do think they're better than everyone else, they don't really talk the way the Blossoms talk. It's just, I know it's probably them trying to go for that surreal Twin Peaks vibe, but it's really not working as far as the Blossom dialogue is concerned. So, anyway, Cheryl just up and kisses Archie, and he pulls away from her and is like, what are you doing? And Archie leaves because, and all that. And of course, Cheryl, you know, immediately goes from being sympathetic to being queen mega bitch of the universe. And pretty much just, you know, is like, if you leave, you're not gonna, if you leave, the benevolent sun that is the Blossom family will stop shining on you. It's like, Jesus Christ, who the fuck talks like this? Come on. Seriously, unless this whole series, however long the series runs, unless this whole, I mean, the only way this can be possibly explained at this point is if they do pull a St. Elsewhere, and this is actually Jughead just making all this shit up. You know, based on what actually happened, but he's basically making all this shit up. I don't know. It's just, anything involving Cheryl, when Cheryl speaks, it's just like, oh, great. Here's wooden stilted dialogue that nobody actually talks like this. Anyway, so, yeah, Archie leaves. Archie leaves. He tries to make up with Val. Val tells him to buzz off and dumps him because pretty much she's not going to be, as she says, I'm not going to be bought, not like you. And so she, you know, and pretty much Archie's kind of, she feels that Archie's been blowing her off ever since they started dating, which he kind of has because, like I said, Archie has a tendency to take on way more than he can handle, and for everybody. And so, yeah, so Val has dumped Archie, and then to close things out, it's some ominous narration from Jughead implying that Cheryl's about to start doing something interesting, and the last thing we see of Cheryl is her looking at this, having a copy of this photograph that they took of the board of directors, and Archie and Polly were in the picture, and she's scribbling out Archie's face. Polly comes in and says goodnight, and then Cheryl starts scribbling out Polly's face in the picture. So where that's going to go, who knows? We got an inkling of it in episode 10, but I'll talk more about that in that vlog. Now, as for Polly and what's going on, so let's move over to the Cooper house and the fallout from that. So, yeah, last episode, Alice threw Hal out of the house, and now we're dealing with the fallout from that. Pretty much, Alice has decided to use the opportunity of the board of directors being in town to try to write a scathing expose on the Blossoms. And when Betty finds out that that Archie's going with Cheryl to all these activities, she asks Archie to try to talk to Polly to find out what's going on. Now, Alice is in denial. She's pissed. She's angry. She's convinced that Polly has betrayed the Cooper family and all that. Archie, you know, goes to the tree tapping ceremony, overhears, you know, conversations about how the board doesn't really think Cheryl's in there and all that, and he tells Betty. Betty tells her mom. And her mom writes the expose and takes it over to the offices of the newspaper, the Riverdale Register, where Hal is, I guess, the owner and editor-in-chief. And it turns out that Hal has locked her out of the system. Because basically he's like, well, you kicked me out, so I'm kicking you out. You're fired. So he doesn't let her publish the piece. Like, I'm not letting you publish your vendetta. I'm like, asshole, it's your vendetta too. What the fuck? Again, parents in Riverdale are horrible. So Alice, you know, leaves because she wants to get Polly back and all that, and is hoping this expose will do it. But of course, Hal's being an ass, and that whole "I will not raise a child with Blossom blood." For fuck's sake. Anyway, and then Betty's mom chucks a rock right through the glass door of the newspaper. It's amazing. Screaming, "I want my daughter back, you bastard." Anyway, after the, So this is the other reason why Archie was in there. When he goes to the dinner, oh yeah, almost forgot. So Betty's been trying to get a hold of Polly. Polly has not called. Polly has not written. Polly has done nothing to get a hold of Betty or anyone else in her family since going to live with the Blossoms. So Betty tries to get Cheryl to give a message to Polly. Cheryl is Cheryl, of course, but Cheryl does confirm, yeah, Polly's having twins. Big surprise, right? Yeah. So Polly's having twins, and so yeah. Anyway, now when Archie's at the banquet, at the dinner, Polly interrupts the conversation he has with Clifford and asks to dance with him, and that's when Polly tells him, "Tell Betty to stop looking for me. Tell Betty to stop trying to get a hold of me. She needs to stop." And it turns out that Polly did not, in fact, betray the Cooper. She went to stay with the Blossoms to keep an eye on them because she's convinced that the Blossoms had something to do with Jason's death, and so she's looking for dirt on them. That's why she's at Thornhill. And, you know, Archie tells Jughead, Archie tells, you know, Betty, and Betty tells her mom, and everybody's happy now and all that, and you know, her mom's thrilled to find out that Betty doesn't hate her and is gone for good. So, that Polly doesn't hate her and is gone for good. So, Jughead and Betty convince Alice to come right with them at the Blue and Gold, probably because Jughead says our annual operating budget is probably bigger than the Register. A school paper? Ooh, that newspaper must be in serious trouble then. So that's where that all ends right there. And again, it leads up to Cheryl scribbling out Polly's name, Polly's face in the picture at the end. So that brings us to the third plot line, which focuses on Veronica. As mentioned, Veronica, before she came to Riverdale and everything went to hell in her life with her dad going to jail and everything, she admits she was kind of a bitch. And in her English class, she hears Ethel reads a poem, which is kind of dark and disturbing and very Sylvia Plath, and she thinks it's a cry for help, thinking that maybe Ethel is suicidal. And so she offers, you know, to hang out with Ethel and all that and everything, and to cheer her up. And it turns out that Ethel's not suicidal, but things aren't great at home. Her parents are fighting constantly. Because her dad did something and they lost most of their savings, and it looks like they're going to get kicked out of the house. So Veronica tries to cheer her up and invites her over for dinner and whatnot, and so they go to dinner, and it's Archie and Ethel and Veronica and Betty and... Oh, sorry, I'm sorry, not Archie. Kevin and Betty and Veronica and Ethel and Hermione. And when Hermione finds out what Ethel's last name is, which is Muggs, she pulls Veronica aside and tells her that, yeah, Ethel's dad was one of Hiram Lodge's clients, and that's what happened. And Veronica is naturally upset about this. I mean, because basically she did, when she was at her school before, her and another friend tormented this poor girl to the point where she changed schools and had to go into therapy, and she's been trying to make up for that, being that person, like we said before. So yeah, so it's like, that's the point where Veronica's like becoming really disillusioned with her dad. And it gets worse because she's supposed to testify on behalf of her dad. You know, there's supposed to be a deposition taken soon where she's being expected to testify on behalf of her dad. Things get worse a couple of days later when Ethel's dad does try to kill himself. He ends up being fine, but he's in the hospital, and that's when Veronica just kind of breaks down completely and realizes that, yeah, her father has ruined people's lives, and God only knows how many have gotten caught in the wheels. Veronica's been wearing this pearl necklace on and off throughout the series, which apparently her dad gave her, and she just rips that son of a bitch right off when she finds out about this, and then goes and tells her mom that. And then her and Betty go to the hospital to give some flowers to Ethel's family, and Veronica, you know, tells Ethel's mother who she is, and her mother and Ethel's mom kind of just goes off on her, as well she might. And, you know, it's just one of those things, and Veronica's crushed, and she goes home and just basically tells her mom what happened and says that I'm done lying for Dad. So Veronica's done with that. As an offshoot of this plotline, Hermione's got her own problems with the deposition and all that, basically they have the idea that Clifford Blossom has been behind some of the other problems that they've had. Except Hermione tells Veronica that no, the thugs that beat up Moose at the lot was actually hired by Hiram, and that he found out about Hermione and Fred. So, and they're pretty sure Clifford Blossom told Hiram this. So Hermione, you know, comes clean to Fred about what happened, and Fred's naturally not happy about it. And later, he decides not to quit the project, but he sets some new terms, and he basically says, I'm tired of you people using me and my family for your own end as pawns. So he basically says, yes, I will stick with the project, but I get 20%. And if not, he walks off. And as for the relationship that was blooming between him and Hermione, that's over with. Fred said, nope, I'm not doing that. We're done. So, yay, that's all well and good. One other thing for this. Just before Archie leaves the dinner after Cheryl makes her play, he happens to be passing by a hedge and overhears Clifford and Penelope talking about the drive-in land, how they're trying to get that land back, because apparently the board is very interested in the Blossoms owning that land again for some reason. And basically, Clifford's like, Hermione Lodge will give us that land soon enough. It's like, but she's proving to be a lot more resilient than I thought. To which Penelope responds, maybe you should have sent her to jail instead of Hiram. So apparently Clifford Blossom did something to put the cops onto Hiram Lodge. So, yeah, so it's a three-way feud between the Blossoms and the Coopers and the Lodges. Oh, not the Coopers and the Lodges, the Blossoms and the Lodges. So, oh, wow, alrighty then. But at the end of the Veronica plotline, pretty much she comes to school the next day, and Ethel's fine. Ethel does not blame Veronica for what her dad did and still wants to be friends. So there's a little bit of a happy ending there. So that's pretty much everything that happens. Some interesting intrigue, but again, nothing really pushing forward on Jason's murder. And they better step this up because as of the time I'm recording, there's only 3 episodes left. I still have to talk about episode 10, but we'll do that in a minute. Yeah, this was an okay episode. Not a great one because, again, the dialogue for anything involving the Blossoms just sounds so friggin' phony and fake, and you don't buy any of it. I don't buy it from Cheryl, I don't buy it from her parents. It's just, I don't know if it's meant to make them sound creepy and weird, but it's just, yeah, I don't know. It's starting to grate on me a lot. Anyway, so again, I have no theories. Absolutely. Oh! I almost forgot. The one other fallout here. So Archie tells Betty and Jughead what he overheard with Penelope and Clifford, and of course that makes them think, well, if Clifford put Hiram Lodge in jail, and Hiram can hire thugs to go and beat up and put a stop to the Sodale construction just to intimidate Fred Andrews, who's to say what else he couldn't do? So maybe Hiram hired somebody to kill Jason. So they put Hiram Lodge's name on their murder board. Now here's the thing, and I don't know how significant this is. On the murder board you see articles and pictures, and you see stuff like, you know, the Coopers and the Blossoms and Cheryl and all this. Interestingly enough, there's a card on the board that says Reggie Mantle. Why is Reggie's name there? Are we going to get more with Reggie in the last few episodes we've got? Why is it there? Is it there just to fill space? Is it there as an Easter egg? Or does it actually imply Reggie has another connection to Jason Blossom that gives him a motive for killing him? Because like I said, we really haven't seen much of Reggie this season. Anytime he's on, he's in the light, but yeah, we really haven't seen much of Reggie. So, who knows? Maybe we'll get more of Reggie in the next few episodes. I mean, like I said, aside from the episode that aired this past week, there's only 3 episodes left, so we'll see where we go from there. Anyway, that is all for episode 9. I'm going to go watch episode 10 again, and then I will be back to talk about episode 10 of the Riverdale vlogs. See ya.